Hello, my name is Silvester Henderson. I am the CEO for Professor for Life Incorporated. At Professor for Life Incorporated, I interview mainly academic professors and many professionals throughout the world, internationally, locally, and globally. And today we have Miss Julinda LeDee, who is the Articulation Specialist for San José City College, and she's also the Union Steward for San José City College. So I want to welcome Miss Julinda LeDee. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Very much so. I'm honored. Miss LeDee, could you please introduce yourself to our digital media academic world and tell us where you grew up, share your academic journey. Where did you attend college and your majors and all those wonderful things?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm gonna give you a little twist on this interview today because since
Okay.
I'm Julinda, my story is very unique. But some of those of us who have colorful backgrounds can relate to me. So I was born in Oklahoma, Okmulgee, Oklahoma. I'm the
Okay.
last one in my family born in Oklahoma, several generations. My name, Julinda, I'm named after my grandmother, and she was named after her grandmother.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yes, and same with my middle name being Elizabeth. That too is my mother's middle name and my great grandmother's middle name, and I believe a third great great. So, yes, my educational path, oh my goodness. Sir, I don't know how much you know about me, but I'm former foster.
Okay.
So, being former foster, I was not privileged enough to go to college right away out of high school. Matter of fact, I went to four different high schools and I had a very interesting journey. I did attempt to go to community college at 18. I was 18 and pregnant. So, therefore, I had to drop out. So, I had to decide to work and care for my child. And so I tried to go back again, like in my early 20s. I had an amazing supervisor. She was a doctor, a Black woman, Dr. Norma Livingston, an optometrist. She went to UC Berkeley from Oakland. And she gave me the opportunity to take some courses and she paid for them privately. And I appreciated that. But unfortunately, it didn't stick.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It didn't
Life
stick.
happened.
Life, yes, life continued to happen. So you know what? You know how those challenges in life turns into opportunities.
Yes, ma'am.
So I end up losing my job and I end up working at a community college. And I had an amazing dean. She hired me on site. I admire her to this day. She asked me after working with me for a while, she said, "You're a bright woman. I like you." She said, "Would you consider going to school?" I said, "Lady, I love you, but you must be crazy. I am a single mom with three kids, working this full-time job, and you want me to do what?" She says to me, she blonde hair, blue eyes, she's just sparkling and believing in me. She said, "If you go back to school," she said, "I promise I'll support you." Now, as I mentioned in this story, I'm former foster. You know how many people have promised me things?
That's
I
right.
said, support me. I'm not familiar with support. So I started off with one class at a time. It took me 7 years to earn my AA degree.
But you
And then
did
after
it.
that, yes, 7 years, 7 years,
But you did it.
but I did it.
And then continue to tell us about your bachelor's and
So then everyone expected me, to transfer to my local university, which is San Jose State. I applied, I was accepted, but I was afraid and I declined.
oh wow.
Yes, out of fear. So then I had a few of my mentors, support me and support my growth and my confidence. So I went to one of my colleagues, a faculty member. She was part of professional development. So I asked her, I said, can I use professional development funds to pay for a college course? She said, let me find out and I'll get back to you. She said, yes. I applied for Open University. I was able to pay for one course. Now, mind you, I did not know what I was doing. I didn't have anyone really guiding me. And so my undergrad, I was thinking sociology, psychology, African American studies, right? So I registered for a course called urban planning. I thought it
Wow.
was about Black folks. Why was it a course about city planning? And everyone in the course were either city planners or worked for the city or wanted to become a city planner. I had no idea what I was doing. But I was able to complete the course and that built my confidence. And so I reapplied and I was accepted. And so then I faced another hiccup. I chose sociology as my undergrad. My counselor, she tells me, you need to change your major. And I said, why? And she says, because you have to take statistics and you don't have any math background except for arithmetic.
Wow.
Because I was former foster and I was bounced around and they would put me in special ed classes and, no one really cared. So, through the ups and the downs and the highs and the lows, I didn't get everything that I need to prepare me for college. So I was determined. I said, no, I'm not going to change my major because I love sociology. I love what I've been studying and learning about just folks just around the world and policy and advocacy and just, free trade, just all of this, just people, how we work, collectively. And so with that being said, I took statistics. I faced a major, major, major family emergency. My little sister was killed by her boyfriend.
Oh, wow.
So I asked for it incomplete because I'm the oldest and I had custody of her previously before she turned into an adult. And so I took a break so I could go to Arizona and bury my sister. And so then I attempted to take it a second time and I wasn't doing well. So I asked for another extension. Now I want to praise faculty right now. My professor was absolutely wonderful. I went to him. He was a full-time psychology professor at a community college, but he was adjunct teaching statistics at San José State University. So I went to him and I explained to him, I said, you know what? I said, I'm facing some challenges as far as learning, statistics, period, understanding what this means. I said, but if you explain it to me in list form, I can understand it better than paragraph form. Do you know this man heard me? He changed the whole way and taught the whole class to teach me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I know what people can do to elevate other people. I know what people can do when they truly listen. I know what people can do when they have compassion and when they have empathy. And I know that there are so many faculty out there who have uplifted their students and put them in positions that they can never dream of. And I'm in a position now just earning my bachelor's degree that I never thought I would earn, because I did not earn it until my 40s. And then I went on to graduate school to earn my master's in public administration from the University of San Francisco. And I'm just truly grateful for this amazing journey and the support that folks have given me. I'm truly grateful.
Miss LeDee, I could actually feel your gratefulness and feel the fact that you are such a humble and caring woman and professional. And that is an amazing story of perseverance, especially coming from the foster child system and having so many challenges that you've had to face, but you're a strong African American woman because you faced them, you dealt with them, you dealt with life, and even when life brought you lemons, you found a way still to make lemonade.
Oh, yes.
And you
Oh,
kept
yes.
on going.
Yes.
And having said that, I'm so proud of you that you are the articulation specialist. And I want to ask you, can you describe some of your work and obligations as the articulation specialist for San José City College and the union steward? I
Yes.
can see that you are a great professional at this college because you have
Yes.
such a love for the community college, but such a love for people and helping them as well.
Yes. Yes. I have a love for community because community has loved me. So I'm loving community back. As an articulation specialist, I largely work with curriculum. So this is one of my favorite parts and one of my most challenging parts. I work with faculty when they want to revise degrees and certificates. So I work with them one on one, and then they go through the additional approval processes. And once it's finally been approved by those different processes, I then submit the documentation to the state chancellor's office for approval. And then once that's been approved, as long as there's no hiccups, right? Then once that's approved and the catalog opens for that next year, I then add that degree and certificate to the catalog. So it's amazing. I get to touch the students and I get to work with the faculty. And I really appreciate the journey. Matter of fact, I just was working on ironworking, adding that to our catalog. And that's my first certificate. That's actually an apprenticeship certificate as well as career technical. So learning what documentations are needed and even learning how to better teach the faculty. Because just like doctors are the worst patients, sometimes faculty are the most challenging students, right? And so
That's
I
true.
have to encourage them and I have to build up their confidence because some will say, this is new for me. I've never done curriculum. I'm not familiar. And I said, you know what? I will work with you in baby steps. You can call me whenever you need to. We can meet by Zoom. We can meet by person, whatever is best for you. Someone's taken me to dinner. We've talked curriculum over dinner. So whatever they need, whether it's Zoom, in person, or we just meet in the lobby or even outside and feel some fresh sunshine. So I try to accommodate them as much as I can because it's really about community, right? Community being served and assisting faculty wherever I can is truly a treasure and it's a treat.
Wow. Now tell us a little bit about your work as the union steward. That has
Oh
to
my
be
goodness.
challenging working as that liaison between management and classified professionals.
Yes, yes, it's very interesting. So there's always a story. So I came from some challenges, and so I was curious about policy and procedure. Again, my foster care growing up, that's always about policy, following law, legislations, right? So I always had that fresh in mind, like, what's the policy, what's the board policy, what's the administration policy, right? And so I had faced some challenges. And so I had the opportunity to take these classes through CSEA. And so I took level one, level two, and level three. And I even took level four, even though you don't have to. But I did because I feel like we need to be empowered with information. And some people hoard information, and I'm one that doesn't. So once I learn something, I feel like I need to share it with everyone. And I had already had a relationship with folks because I had reestablished our classified senate from scratch at San Jose City College, and I served as in the president role for 3 years. So that gave me the confidence to work with staff and faculty and management on this other side of the fence as a steward. And so I feel confident when I'm meeting with this members. I know my job is to make them feel comforted, make them feel good. I may or may not be able to solve their problem, but I can make them feel better about the situation. So I always use articles within our contract agreement, and or I use the board policies. And sometimes people just need clarification. Sometimes it's not even a large issue, right? But then sometimes it is. But I find it all a positive experience. I've been able to meet with college presidents as well as VPs, as well as HR. I've met with people one-on-one, and I've met with people in large groups. So for me, it's been fascinating. I love advocating for others because I'm also a Santa Clara Human Rights Commissioner. So that just falls in line with the advocacy, supporting others who need you in the community. So that's what I do.
Well, all of this work, it has to be really challenging because I've been faculty and an administrator all of my massive career in all the systems in California.
Okay.
And I know that sometimes the sentiment for many of the classified professionals that I have worked with and developed close relationships with, sometimes they don't feel like they are treated fairly, they are compensated fairly, and sometimes they're just discouraged. But in general, faculty feel the same way. Faculty feel they feel like they're not treated specially towards management, and management at the campus feel that they're not treated, in a special way. So it's like a train reaction. Everybody sometimes doesn't feel like their job gives them what they need, and I find that, and I have found that it's less really about money. It is about money sometimes, but it's more about the voice. It's more about having the voice to be heard through value. So I'm wondering, how are you able to work with your members to let them know how do you address your members when they are disgruntled about issues that as the steward is not going to change, but you know what, you kind of see it both ways, because you seem like a very logical professional. I can tell.
Yes. Basically, I just keep it 100. It's interesting that we're having this conversation because I met with 2 people last Monday early, and it was nice because they cooked me breakfast in their department. But they had 3 issues at hand, and all 3 I could address with board policy. Unfortunately, one of them that really bothered them, there was nothing that they could do or I could do about it. I just had to let them, know, this is management's purview, right? But, we just have to adjust the best way that we can. So yeah, and that's where it comes the comforting part, making them feel good and developing these relationships. So me saying this to you, like shooting those board policies to you and sending that email, which I had already done. I had already reached out to our union president and our labor rep. So I give them a heads up and I ask for any advice, right? And so generally the labor rep, he will respond and he will give me some information. So I'm equipped with that information, and so are the members. And then when I meet them in person, really, it's just about the connection. And I think that no matter where you are, no matter which college you're on, which campus you're on, or where you're at, whatever facility you're in, we are just a small sample size of society, right? A lot of us don't feel appreciated in our own homes, let alone at work, right? So I've also learned that too, that a job is not necessarily meant to be fulfilling. So people have to realize that too, that, we're here for a purpose. And sometimes the job is not fulfilling, but it sustains us to support our families, right? So you have to look for things outside of your job. I did that myself. I have my own business. I'm a motivational speaker and I'm a poet. And this is what I do. So sometimes you have to find outside fulfillment and realize, this is my job, this is my job description, and these are the parameters. Yes, management changes, so we have to deal with attitudes and personalities, management styles, and just go from there. But at the end of the day, for me, it's really about building those personal relationships. And I have made grown men cry. I made this one man cry. He worked for I think he worked for facilities or something. He fixed stuff. And he was like this big macho man. He came into my office and he was like, I don't know you and I don't know if I can trust you. And I looked at him. I was like, well, why are you over here then? You know?
I get you.
And he just like let me have it. And I just listened, you know, and that's where, you know, active listening, you know, is very important, right? Because sometimes people just want to vent. And sometimes people want a solution. So you have to listen for what you can offer. And that's why listening and offering comfort is a big deal, being a steward, because sometimes they don't want a solution and they know there isn't a solution, but they want to be heard. And I can be that ear for them. So let me tell you about this macho man that came into my office, very masculine. He let me have it. I listened to him. I used some of his words back to him because he mentioned his faith. He mentioned Jesus. So I said, okay, you open the door, partner.
Okay.
So why are you trusting in you? You know what I'm saying? You need to cast your cares to him. I said, I don't know what's going on in your life, but you might need to go pray. And we had an amazing conversation. Do you know this man ended up crying in my office and had to ask for tissue?
Oh. So you're like a professional. You're like a classified counselor.
Oh yes, I've been told. I've been told that. Yes.
You're like a classified counselor because you allow you create a space where the classified professionals feel comfortable enough. And that's a testament to your great personality.
Yes. And I have all folks come to me. I have faculty who come to me. I have students who are referred to me because I don't meet with students directly, but I have students in my office. I go into the classroom. I speak to some of the students with empowerment, motivational presentations. So I'm able to build connections and plant seeds and provide resources.
Wow. Well, you know, you may have started life on this earth with some challenges, but you sure have made the lemon into a lemonade.
Oh, yes. Challenges are only opportunities, right? And challenges, if you allow them to, they will refine you for the position that you will be in your future life.
That's right. As a noted professional, Ms. LeDee, a noted academic professional and college transfer expert, what Title V policies do you believe have impact your work the most?
Okay. You may not want to hear this because I had to let someone have it a couple weeks ago. 10+1, faculty with curriculum. If faculty want to control curriculum, how come faculty do not want to revise their courses and degrees and certificates on time? A career technical program is supposed to be updated every 2 years, and programs and courses are supposed to be updated every 5 years. Why are faculty pushing back on not continuing their professional obligation of updating curriculum on time? That is the biggest impact that I have. It bothers me to my core. You can send out reminders. And so like for me, my position, my dean will get on me saying, Julinda, I want you to send them weekly reminders. And I said, if the deans can't do it, if the vice president can't do it, if the president can't do it, and the chancellor can't do it, why do you think I can do it?
That's right. You know what, Ms. LeDee, as a faculty professional, that is probably one of the areas that many faculty professionals, they hate doing. We called it logistical work work that is not instructional, but it is instructional. There may be ways, when I was at Los Alamos, what we used to do, I'm not sure it always worked, but what we did is that we created cohorts. And so instead of having, like in my department, the Department of Music, where at one point we had like 218 courses, instead of us having one semester to update 218 courses, along with our certificate programs, the college would go through and ask us to give them a list of 25 courses, and we had generally 4 cohorts. And so one semester we may do 25, the next semester you may do 40, and that worked a little better for us because we had the same problem, but all community colleges have the same problem. You know, it's just something that faculty professionals don't want to do, and they should do.
I have a solution, though.
And what is your solution?
Oh, I'm so solution oriented. If I have a problem, trust me, I have a solution.
Okay.
My solution. So what I noticed with the faculty. So this is separate. Revising your degrees and your certificates and your courses, right, through the state chancellor's office, right. Then there's another program review process where they're just looking at their SLOs and it's more in-house. So I noticed that faculty are more prone to, because it's what you were speaking about, the cohort. This isn't a cohort, but this is more of a committee, and someone is leading the charge, and there's other folks involved. So they will do their program review. And I have even volunteered to be an associate reviewer as a classified member. I wanted to understand, what are the faculty actually doing? And so I had the opportunity to read, to pre-read before the faculty, make my notes, and then the faculty went on and made the final suggestions. So I noticed, I'm like, okay, so you're organized with program review. Why don't we add the revision of the courses and the programs with that process?
That makes sense. And so basically, you're saying that if they had a cohort model, that every time there's a review, we did, I think, God, I did them for so long, I don't miss it now, you know.
I don't
I mean, you know, I don't miss it. Because I was department chair for almost 25 years. And, you know, nobody wanted to do it. And I always got stuck with doing them. But, I mean, I like that method because that method allows you to take care of the department program reviews, which we always would do. But it allows you to use smaller components to update the courses all at the same time. So you don't have this panic, you know? So you know what? As you are still working for San José City College, I give that back to you and your professional. Because that is something that is, most faculty members, they hate it.
I know.
They hate it. And the poor classified professionals, they're running around trying to beg you to do this. And to be honest, once the professor becomes full-time, there's really not very much. And tenure, there's really not very much because legislation is behind it so strongly. It's not very much that the dean, I mean, they could nag you, but basically, what are they going to do if you don't do it? But my dean, I give her credit. She would sit down with us and she would say, okay, let's have a 4-hour meeting. And we would just sit there online and just do them together. And I like that.
Yes.
You know, and so maybe more collaboration. And we had our articulation officer, who was Eileen Valenzuela at that time. And she was there for like 30-some years at Los Alamos. She would sometimes join and would send us messages. But to be honest, when they sent me those messages, I didn't pay no attention to them. I didn't. I am not going to sit there and lie and say I did. I would say, I would be cussing sometimes and say, I don't feel like doing this. You know, but I would do it. I would always get them done. But I would end up doing my revisions and core updates. Sometimes I would just end up doing them I may do like 100 one weekend, and I just stay up all night. And I just say, I mean, I got to do this. I mean, I don't know why, I just hated doing them. I ain't gonna sit there and lie and say I was the greatest at it. But, I got them done. I mean, I probably frustrated the administration, but we always got them done before the 2-year deadline. They were never done on the deadline that was published. They were kind of done on our own deadline. But so what do I say? Maybe if it impacted our salary or our tenure or something, then you get it done. I don't know. That's one of those union negotiation things we have to talk about. Okay, so that's one of those issues that we don't have. I don't think, Miss LeDee. I don't think that maybe that beautiful smile that you have can convince more professors to do it timely. So I don't know. But let me ask you this question. Can you please discuss some of your successes, and challenges regarding student articulation transfers to the CSU and the UC system? What I'm asking is that what system is the most challenging one to articulate courses to and create transfer agreements and all those things? The CSU or the UC?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the UCs, and I hate to say this, one UC was actually rude to me. So we have an articulation officer who is faculty, right? And I'm the articulation specialist. So I'm classified professional. So we have different responsibilities, but one of my responsibility is to send out articulation requests. So my job is basically I go into the ASSIST database system, see which courses could be potentially articulated, and then I create a spreadsheet and I send a request out to the requesting universities. Now it's just very interesting off top altogether because I've sent out a ask, what time of the year is best? Because it takes a while for them to get back to you. Again, this is faculty. So I will send my request to the articulation officer, and then she then forwards that request to the faculty chair. And if there is not a chair, then it's just a direct faculty member or maybe even an adjunct faculty member. It just depends, right? And so sometimes, they may or may not get back to me because they're waiting. So then I don't get any response. But one person from the UC, she specifically sent me an email and said that she only wanted to work with the articulation officer and not with me, the specialist.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a challenge. See, I worked as a lecture professor for the UC system. I worked as a lecture professor for 13 years for the California State University. And I was in the community college for pretty much close to 33 years full time. So I've been in all the systems a long time. I was in the UC system for 20 years. Sometimes it's not the classified professionals, but there is a hierarchy in terms of how the UC system sees themselves in the state of California in terms of value. And sometimes they don't even want to work too much with the faculty. In the, I think it's called the, oh God, I just lost it, the council. There is intercollegiate council, something like that, of academic senate that I was on. I can't think of the name right now. They had representatives from the UC, the CSU, and the community college. And one of the things I noticed was that whenever the UC professor spoke, and I understand the sentiment because I worked as a UC professor. Whenever the UC professor spoke, they felt that was the bottom line. Now, I'm not saying that it's right, but that's just the way, education is government, Miss LeDee. And government has value in politics and who's important, who's not important. So, those sort of things happen. But, and I noticed that whenever the community college would speak, whenever the community college faculty would speak, it was kind of more like an appeasement.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
It wasn't
mm-hmm.
like they take you serious. They didn't really take the CSU serious because the driving force in the California Master Plan for Higher Education is really the UC system. It,
Right. That's what's going on right now with the Cal Getsy and reducing and changing the units and the common course numbering system. Like it's kind of, yeah, I don't know what all this is going to lead to, but it hurts the
politics.
students. Oh, I understand that. At the end of the day, follow the money, and I don't know which billionaire is behind this. So I understand. Every time there's a change in legislation, it just really impacts the students when it comes to this. And there's a few things going on right now, right? They just created the new general ed pathway. We used to have two, and legislation changed because the UC system, overruled. And that's interesting to me because I'm like, there's only 10 UCs, there's 23 CSUs, and there's 116 California community colleges. How do they have so much pull? And they're like, oh, because UCs are not legislated like we are. So we have to follow them. And it seems they have more money and donors, and it's more privatized than more so us. But yeah, I find it all quite fascinating. Because even with the changes now, we just had what Curriculum Institute just a few months ago, right? This last summer. And the chancellor's office still can't answer everyone's questions. And when the UC gets on the stage, they can't answer anyone's questions either. So I find it all quite puzzling. But what? Collaboration, it really goes a long way. And I get it. Politics doesn't allow for collaboration. That's what's going on right now, the bigger picture. But yeah.
But effective policies do allow, but the UC system, they are etched in historic history,
Mhm.
and because I was a UC professor myself, I mean, I understand it. I understand how, I understand the attitude, because the UC is really the Mecca. It just is. And even though, I'm going to say this and I'm going to have us to move on, uh, they're research scholars. Their faculty members are research scholars. They have a different governing system. Faculty really drive the system. And faculty drive a lot of the community college, but you're not going to go to the UC system and see a bunch of master's degrees teaching as professors. You're just not. And so I'm just telling you the truth. And so a lot of the professors question the rigor of a lot of these articulation agreements because they don't like them. They just don't. They think basically if you want to go to college, when you get through working at the community college and learning basic entry level skills, then come to us and you start your education. That's basically how they feel. Now, I'm not saying I agree, but I think that that's something that is codified within the language for the master plan for higher education. Because the master plan, basically, I look at how nicely it's put together. It really says they are the Mecca, CSU is next, and the community college from a curricular standpoint. And so,
I understand that. However, the data shows that they get most of their students from California, well, from community college transfers. And I do understand what you said, the Mecca, because I thought about my oldest son. He was like, I'm going to UC. So he went to UC Santa Barbara, and he was determined to do that. And he finished his community college career in 2 years on the exact nose and transferred.
wow.
But he chose to leave the country as well. So he earned his master's at the University of Copenhagen, where he now resides for the last 11 years.
Wow.
But yeah, I do understand that as well. Reputation is everything. Image is everything, right? We want to look good, smell good, have fat bank accounts, and have our, degrees displayed. I get
As
it.
collegiate articulation specialist, How closely do you and your office work with your campus academic senate?
Oh, we're under Academic Senate. So our instructional committee is led by Academic Senate. Our policy is led by Academic Senate. So in a sense, I work for Academic Senate, though I don't work directly for Academic Senate. So yes, Academic Senate, they lead out on everything. So basically, so when a faculty member wants to create something new, they go to the Academic Senate with the information item to let them know how they're moving forward with their curriculum. So everyone is pretty much involved. Our curriculum chair, he's part of Academic Senate. He's faculty, of course. So Academic Senate is heavily involved. So even with the process, for example, after faculty meet with me, they then meet with the tech team, and that consists of the classified professional curriculum coordinator, but faculty, the curriculum chair, and the articulation officer. And then from there, they go to the instructional committee, and that's all faculty and administrators. And once that's approved, then it goes to the board. But yes, the academic senate is heavily involved. It's led by them.
Wow. Okay. Miss LeDee, as a recognized motivational speaker with the organization entitled Speak for Impact, please share some of the opportunities and organizations where you have delivered essential messages. And can you tell me, do you have a specific theme that you always talk about, or, when you go out and do your motivational speaking?
Yes. So I will start with that. My theme: I'm here to inspire you and touch your soul.
Okay.
That's what I do. Yes, I'm here to remind you that you are absolutely amazing and that you are not your circumstance. And everything you've been through your life, it ain't about you. It's about the position that you're about to walk into and those you're going to support along your journey. So that's basically what I speak about. Speak for Impact. It came again, facing challenges. I was seeking a promotion, didn't receive it, went into a little bit of depression, took myself to Hawaii, took my Bible, took my journal, and it led me to Speak for Impact. And the fascinating thing about that is I've been speaking, but I didn't want to speak, because when people initially asked me to speak, they wanted me to speak to foster youth. Yes, that is my background, but I was trying to run away from it. So someone reminded me that I was Jonah. And I was trying to run away from it because I just felt like it was just so much of my life. And it wasn't the brightest part of my life. So I wanted to move up and have a title that would align with my master's degree. But that's not the path that was for me. My path was to pour into people, to support folks, people who come from colorful backgrounds, people who've given up on themselves, single mothers, young folks who feel like they have no direction and there's no support. Those are the folks that I initially reached out to. Then it turned into poetry, a little bit of entertainment, right? And then it turned into just empowerment, like, let me remind you that you are absolutely amazing, right? That you are here for a purpose, right? That you are uniquely designed. And so all of that, that's just my ultimate message at the end of the day, just to remind people you have that power inside of you. I'm just here to remind you of what you're truly built of.
What an amazing professional you are. You are an amazing professional. And I'm so grateful that Charles Madison connected us together. God bless him. Who influenced you to want to become an academic professional?
Oh, that's so nice to ask that question. So my grandmother, well, one of my grandmothers in Arizona, she was an evangelist. So she taught Sunday school in the house, right? And so with evangelists, you have more than just the Bible, because there's theology books, there's studies that are going on. So she used to also take us to garage sales, right? So at the garage sales, I would always want office stuff, like, the pads. What is that? Where you would write on it and the paper in between would go to the other paper with carbon copy paper, right? So
Okay.
my grandma would get me these little, people were just, give away their old office stuff or sell it for pennies. And I was a little kid and I'm the oldest on both sides of my family. So all my cousins were always my students. And so I used to play school and office. And so as I started to get older, I knew I either wanted to work in healthcare or work in education. And so I volunteered for a little bit at Valley Medical, and I got to see what that hospital environment was like. But I didn't go that route at the time. Then fast forward, I went to vocational school and I earned a certificate in medical technology. And that's when I worked for the optometrist. So I worked for her for like 4 years or so. And then the Lord just opened the door for education. I went to a job fair. I wasn't even really looking for a job. I was just going through the motion. And I was trying to get some candy off of the San Jose Evergreen table. And the lady asked me for my resume. And I said, oh no. And she was like, no, there's a couple of openings. So I handed it to her. And she goes, there's a secretary 3 position that's available. And I said, oh no, I can't be a secretary. I don't know shorthand. She was like, I just remember my stepmom worked at Lockheed and she did shorthand as a secretary. Anyway, so I went in for the interview and she asked me, she goes, do you have your driver's license social security number? And I said, what, you're hiring me? So it just all aligned. But honestly, I'm just going to say I was led, and prayer is everything, y'all.
Well, that's wonderful. I can tell you're a woman of faith. That's beautiful.
I'm a woman of many things.
Okay, that's wonderful.
I'm a woman of many things, but yes, faith goes a long way, let me tell you.
What challenges have you faced as a woman of color in higher education?
Oh my goodness. I remember when I first started at the college, someone was rude to me. I don't remember exactly what they said, but I just remember it was a rude comment. And so I went to one of the older secretaries, and she was a white woman, and I was very honest with her. And I said, someone said something very rude to me. I said, is it because I'm Black? She said, honey, she said, not only are you Black, she said, you're a classified professional and you're a woman. She goes, you got 3 strikes. So I was fully aware day one. And as you mentioned, the hierarchy, right? I didn't work in education. And so I didn't understand the hierarchy system. But, since I do have that other background, I kind of don't give a damn about the hierarchy system. So I just work around it the best way I can.
Wow. This has been such an enlightening 50-minute conversation, and you have displayed such a beautiful personality. Do you have any final things you would like to share with our digital world about who you are, what you do, some of your future goals, before we end our interview?
Yes, you have an opportunity to see me live and in person and see what I do. Saturday, November 29th, I'm having a free empowerment session. It is called Empower to Elevate. That will be in San Jose, California, and it will be hosted by Roots Community Health. So yes, if you want to see me live and in person, just contact me. Let's make it happen. I also have a free event coming up November 7th with Sacred Heart. I will be speaking to their clients who are feeling defeated and discouraged as they look for employment. So I'm going to give them some words of encouragement and a little bit of tips and tools and advice.
Wow. Miss Julinda LeDee, thank you so much for taking the time to, first of all, bring that beautiful smile to Professor for Life Incorporated, but seriously, to share such wisdom. One of the things that I gathered from you is that you are a very determined young lady. You stay on the side of life that's positive regardless of what happens. that is a jewel that everyone needs, whether they are in academia, whether they are in the professional corporate world, whether they're entertainer, sports figures. Because sometimes what happens is just that we get bogged down with foolish things. But you have your personality and your theme in terms of who you are as a professional woman, an African American woman, is to stay positive. Stay positive.
I just want to throw this out there because someone asked me that before, and she said, "How do you manage to have that beautiful smile with all you've been through?" That's how she phrased it. And I'm just gonna let everyone know, honestly, that's my gift that God gave me, and we've all got a gift. You just have to tap into it, and He's allowed me to be resilient. And sometimes I think I'm crazy because I'm like, why do I feel so much joy? Why do I feel so much happiness? I should not be happy right now. But He's given me that. He's given me forgiveness. He's given me, you know how they say like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, how they can shut out all the noise. They don't care about what anybody thinks. They kill all noise. And I think that's one of my gifts too. Since I come from that other side, I know you're just full of noise.
That's right. Well, you know what? What you said to me today is not noise, it's wisdom. Truly be blessed as the holiday season is going to be coming, and we're celebrating Thanksgiving next month. I am thankful to finally have an opportunity to meet you. I'm thankful to interview you. God bless you, and thank you once again. And I hope that our paths will cross soon. God
Yes,
bless you.
thank you.
Thank you. Be blessed now.
Thank you.